channel. This is the second video, day 2 of eating and cooking and experimenting with Exante products. Today I am going to make the pancake and waffle mix, which is chocolate flavour. It's one of the products from the range which is okay for me to have sugar wise. It's a 55 gram portion and there's only 1.1 gram of sugar in that portion. Looks quite simple to make. You just mix 2 scoops of the powder with 75 ml of water and then cook it in a pan. Fairly self-explanatory. I tried the lemon pancakes yesterday and they were pretty decent. So let's see how this goes. It's looking like it's going to be quite a thick batter. In fact, that looks kind of too thick. I'm a little bit alarmed by how thick that is, I'll be completely honest. I don't understand why it's so thick. Unless it's supposed to be like the tortilla that we had yesterday that has to be rolled out. But yeah, I don't know if you can see this. This is like a dough, not like a pancake batter. I've never made waffles before in a waffle maker, but I don't think they're made out of dough either. I think they would be made out of something that was more batter like. So I'm thinking maybe I need to add more water to this. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say, so I'm gonna go ahead and add more water because I just don't really know how else we're gonna make this into something that you can make pancakes out of. And judging by, I mean, now it's resembling, well, if I'm completely honest, it's resembling concrete, but it smells really nice. It just smells chocolatey. It's still kind of quite thick, but okay, that was something going on the floor. I'm gonna just heat my pan up and we're gonna see how we go with this consistency. I probably added about another 50 ml of water to that, which may have been a mistake, I don't know, but I just couldn't see. It doesn't say anything about rolling it out. With the tortillas that I made yesterday, it said that you had to bring it together into a dough, leave it to rest and then roll it out, whereas with this it just says mix and then pour into a pan. And the consistency that it was before, there was no pouring with that consistency. So we're gonna just see how we go with this. Again, it says, it doesn't say anything about putting any oil in the pan or anything like that. So we're gonna just, yeah, it's, oh, okay, so it says whisk 2 scoops with 75 ml of water to make a thick batter. Pour into a preheated non-stick pan or waffle maker, cook for 3 minutes on medium heat, flip and cook for a further 1 minute before serving. So yeah, I mean, how that was before, that was not a batter, that was a thick dough that I would have had to have rolled out. So I don't know what happened to the consistency there, but we're just gonna go ahead and see how this comes out. And I think I'm going to take my own advice from yesterday and cook this in 2 smaller pancakes rather than trying to fill the whole pan up. I also treated myself. This isn't from Exante, by the way, but as much as they have a chocolate flavour, the thought of dry pancakes or waffles didn't really fill me with too much joy. So I treated myself to some 0-calorie salted caramel syrup from bulk.com. I think I actually got mine from Amazon, but it was on offer and it is literally 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 0 calories, and it's intended to be used on pancakes, porridge, yogurt. I had a little bit in some coffee the other day, which was quite nice. It's just made of a variety of different sweeteners and I just thought it would help to make things go down a little bit easier. Okay, this is starting to bubble on top. I'm going to turn this now. Okay, yeah, this is looking pretty good, so I'm going to let that cook on that side for another minute. I mean, to be honest, this first pancake is looking pretty perfect, but it's quite bulky as well, so I think this is going to end up being quite a substantial breakfast, because I reckon I'm going to make at least another one out of there, if not maybe another two. And I mean, as I am cooking the first pancake, I can see that this is thickening up again. It does say on the bag that you're supposed to shake it before you take the scoops out. I gave mine a bit of agitation, but I didn't really shake it, so I'm wondering if the reason I ended up with such a thick mixture is because kind of uneven distribution of the ingredients in the bag, and maybe I've ended up with the kind of thickening agents, there being too many in my first batch because I didn't shake it adequately enough. But who knows. I'm just going to turn this back over because the top looked a little bit anemic the first time. But yeah, do you know what? That is a pretty decent looking chocolate pancake, if you ask me. So let's go in with number two and see. I'm going to use my trusty spatula now so that we can get everything. Yeah, I think two is going to be a good distribution. So let's get all that batter in the pan. Let's see how number two cooks. I'm going to turn that down a bit because the pan's starting to smoke now, and I'm always a bit nervous with a dry pan because I think things catch really easily, and also I've got one of these annoying, is it an induction hob with like the flat glass plates, and I do find it a bit tricky to control the temperature of them because once they're hot it takes a long time for them to cool back down again. Right, let's flip this. That was definitely not 3 minutes, but that is definitely cooked. So I mean, again, that's looking like a pretty perfect pancake. This is the kind of American pancakey texture that I was predicting the lemon pancakes would be yesterday, and I think maybe if they were cooked in smaller quantities rather than making one massive pancake, they would have been a little bit more like this. Having said that, they're too sugary for me anyway, so it's not an experiment I'm necessarily going to repeat. Yeah, I mean, these have cooked really evenly. These have actually cooked more evenly than when I just make regular pancakes myself. Obviously, I'm going to try a bit first before we start ladling syrup over things because, you know, it's only fair to give them a good try out. So this is the first one that I cooked. It's got quite a fudgy sort of brownie consistency to it. Excuse me. I'm glad I bought the syrup because they are kind of fudgy on the inside. The taste is really pleasant and the texture is really pleasant as well. They are decent pancakes. If somebody served those to me without telling me that they were meal replacement or something like that, I'd be perfectly happy to believe that they were just regular chocolate pancakes. I'm going to try a little bit of the syrup because where they've gone kind of fudgy on the inside, they're a bit claggy. I hate that word. Jamie Oliver uses that word and it is really not a word I want to associate with food, but it's also kind of the only one that I could think of to describe the texture. So I've literally just put probably half a teaspoon of syrup just on the side here. The flavour of the chocolate in the pancakes is there, but it's quite subtle. It's not like an overwhelmingly chocolatey flavour. But it also, I've had things like this before, protein pancakes and things like that, and they always have a really distinctive kind of aftertaste from whey protein or whatever it is they get their protein from. And these don't have it. I honestly would believe that they were just regular pancakes. The salted caramel syrup obviously adds an extra dimension to them, but it does also overpower the chocolate flavour. You can't really taste the chocolate once the salted caramel is on there. But given the fact that this is diet food and a meal replacement, it actually feels quite indulgent. This is a sort of thing where I'd be quite happy to this, you know, you could eat this as a dessert even. Yeah, it's I'm impressed. With the lemon waffles I was impressed, and then realised that the sugar levels were high, and when something tastes good there's generally a reason, and the reason with the lemon waffles was they're quite sugary. It makes sense. However, these don't have nearly a fraction of the sugar levels of the lemon pancakes, but they actually taste equally as good. In fact, they've probably got a more pancakey texture than the lemon pancakes. They just taste like normal food. Yeah, I'm definitely impressed. So it's the Exante pancake and waffle mix. I'd be curious to see what they're like as waffles actually. This is almost enough to make me want to invest in a waffle maker. So if anyone has a recommendation of a decent home waffle maker, let me know in the comments below. Have you ever tried these? What do you think? You know, were they something that you found that you could tolerate day after day as a breakfast? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my pancakes. I apologise for the chewing. I am almost finished with my pancakes. The flavour's okay, I can tolerate the flavour, but they're quite hard work to eat. They're very claggy, and I suspect they're going to make me feel quite full, which isn't a bad thing, but obviously it's not just about the cooking experience, it's about the actual eating experience or drinking, depending on whether it's food or a shake. And this definitely feels like a whole meal that's being replaced. I feel quite full already, in fact. I don't know if they've got some sort of bulking agent in them, but the syrup was definitely necessary, and I've also been drinking water while I've been eating them, and that was definitely necessary as well. You definitely need a bit of lubrication to make these go down. I was thinking earlier that it might be good to talk about some of the issues that I have with food, to try to explain why I'm in a situation where I need to lose weight, why I've kind of struggled with it up until this point, a few things like that. Obviously I've mentioned that I have type 2 diabetes, which started during pregnancy with my eldest daughter. It's fairly obvious that I eat too much and I don't move around enough. I've always tried to be very, very frank and honest with myself when it comes to my weight and things like that. I find it really, it bugs me when other people kind of aren't honest with themselves really about the reason that they struggle with their weight, because generally speaking it's a pretty simple equation of how many calories you consume and how many calories you expend when you exercise. I have an underactive thyroid for which I'm medicated, but that does make it slightly more difficult to lose weight, and it does mean I'm more prone to gaining weight. And as I said, obviously the last 2 years have been a pickle, because we're still pretty much isolating. Both kids are homeschooled. My husband and I both work from home, so we're quite lucky in one respect that we've been able to just sort of batten down the hatches and still continue to exist. It's been less difficult for us in that respect, but we are still very much isolating. We're not going to gyms and things like that, and also when you have a sedentary job, it's bad enough. There are also, on a daily basis, even if I was kind of working 8 hours at my desk, I would still be walking around doing school runs, you know, walking around the supermarket, all of that sort of thing. So, you know, my activity levels have just absolutely plummeted. There is also the aspect, you know, I am a very emotional eater, and when people say that, I think people kind of get an image of, oh, you know, you get upset and you eat, but for me it's kind of deeper than that. My emotional eating it started when I was a child, and my mum and dad split up, and me and my mum moved in with my nan and granddad. And I know, like, for most people that would be like a really horrendous time of their life, and I suppose, you know, it was. I didn't get to see my dad as much as I wanted, but also living with my nan and granddad was quite a nice time in my life. Me and my mum shared a bedroom, we slept in bunk beds, and my nan very much comes from that generation of, you love your family with food and with the meals that you prepare for them. So there was never like a restriction on food. I was a bit fussy when I was little as well. I was catered for in that respect, and I was allowed to be fussy, and I was allowed to eat sweets and crisps and things like that. And I think even now I associate food with happiness and food with feeling comforted and that sort of thing. And I don't want this to sound like I'm blaming my family for me being overweight. It's the opposite of that. I totally acknowledge that it was done with love. So I don't want it to sound negative, but you know, when I say that the emotional eating is deeper than that, it's not just I feel sad so I'm gonna eat. It's also, you know, oh, something good's happened, let's celebrate with food, or we're gonna have a fun evening, let's get snacks, or let's get a takeaway. To me, all of my emotions are somehow associated with food, whether it's positive or negative. It's not just, oh, I'm sad, I'm gonna sit at home and eat. It's let's celebrate with cake, or, you know, things like that. And I am guilty as well of also loving my family with food. My husband sometimes go goggle-eyed at the portions of dinner that I put down in front of him, because I'll put the food on a plate and I think, oh no, I need to give them more. I need to make sure they've got loads and loads of food, which is really negative, because all I'm doing there is kind of pushing my issues with food onto them. Fortunately, the kids are the youngest is at that stage where she's like a racing snake, and she's got so much energy that she stays skinny, although I do keep telling her that's going to change when she gets to puberty. My eldest is really, really disciplined and so good. She watches what she eats. She doesn't gorge herself on snack foods. She exercises every day. So, you know, she definitely seems to have avoided negative influence from me, but it's something that I have to work really, really hard at to not make it be a thing that affects other people. In terms of where my issues with food come from, I think it is just that every emotion is an excuse for food, not just the bad ones. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that, really. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, hit like on the video, turn on post notifications if you want to be notified when I upload more content. I also started a Facebook page for the channel yesterday, so I'll link down below in the description with links and whatnot. I'll also put links in to this if you want to try it. But yeah, thank you for tuning in.